So this week, Cancer, I really love what you're pulling here. Even though facade showed up, I do think that some of you are realizing that now is the time for you to start creating things in your life. So from Lee Vampire, you pulled Creator, Catalyst, Maker, Mother, Father. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled Facade. Now, Creator, working with this card, says that you have a creative spirit and the ability to bring to life a wonderful new project. This will bring you wonderful responsibilities and opportunities. Do not hesitate or delay. This is part of your sacred purpose. But I think for some of you, when you're in the creative process, you need to be careful about being something that you're not. Facade, the very first quote for this card says, "This isn't who I am." The inspiration says that if you are unhappy in your relationships, you may be relating to others through a false sense of duty. Give up being something that you're not. The key ideas are disassociating from yourself, reclaiming your life, and also healing childhood pain, which is also part of the personal question with this card. But I think for a lot of you, whatever it is that you're creating and you're bringing out and you're sharing now, you need to be careful about being true to yourself. But I like Creator. Very much reminds me of the Empress and you creating beauty in your life. All right, Cancer. Here is the energy coming through. The Six of Swords. You guys aren't the only ones to be pulling this here. So the Six of Swords is very much about moving away from conflict and moving into calmer situations for yourself, and especially emotionally for Cancer. But, you know, seeing this card too, there's that little bit of sadness. Having to move away into a different situation because what was going on before, you know, looking at the Five of Swords is just crap. But here you're done with conflict. And in the past, the Nine of Wands. So in the past, I get a sense that this isn't the first time that you've had to, you know, move away from harmful situations for you, especially with the Nine of Wands as the past coming through, because I do think that a lot of you have been put through difficulties more than once, obviously. But the big thing with the Nine of Wands is persistence. And, you know, the other thing too, being on guard, right? Because you've been put through the battle, but this is the wounded warrior. You're ready to continue fighting for the things that are important to you. It's just that you're done with conflict. Oh, very nice, very nice. So in the present, the Star. Whatever issues you're dealing with here, where I feel like, you know, for a lot of you, you've been through a lot of difficulties seeing the Nine of Wands. But in the present moment, there's healing, and that's good to see with your signifier, the Six of Swords. When you're moving away from conflict, there's going to be healing, there's going to be guidance, there's going to be hope for the future here. And I feel like a lot of you are just kind of like going with the flow right now. I don't think that you're like taking any immediate or hasty action. I think you're doing what you need to do to heal yourself right now and moving away from situations that, you know, too much on the defensive about. Future conditions, the Page of Swords. See, this is where I start to worry. Especially looking at the Six of Swords, but to me, this is saying that you're done with this. You're done dealing with this. The Page of Swords to me is the messenger of conflict. And it's like continuously, it's continuous here, right? You've been through this before. You've had this persistence and this push forward, but you're at a point now where healing is going to be more important than continuing to deal with conflict. The Page of Swords, though. I worry that you're dealing with somebody that is not being truthful with you. And, you know, for some of you, it could be dealing with situations where there are possible legal matters. And I don't know why that's being brought up. You know, usually I have to see justice with that. But I don't like the Page of Swords. I don't like it in future conditions. But I do think that a lot of you are done dealing with lies, is what it feels like, and you're moving away from that now. And it feels like you're having to do this again. Your best path to follow, the Eight of Wands, communication and fast-moving energy. This, to me, is very much about needing to speak up. making sure that there is clear communication so that, you know, there is an avoidance of continuous conflict that you're having to continuously move away from. Because the star is saying that there is healing. There isn't a reason for you to continuously have to deal with crap like this. But it's important for you to speak up and speak the truth. But, you know, and then the other thing too is there is a need to start grounding yourself as well. You know, the Eight of Wands, it's fast-moving energy, but, you know, when you're looking at grounding your own dreams to earth, there's very much a need to ground yourself as well. But then on the other hand, if you guys are in the creative process, I wouldn't worry too much about, you know, blocks. But the thing is that there needs to be truth and communication, and truth as far as, you know, yourself when you look at facade. But for a lot of you, I think right now healing is going to be the most important thing. I just think that the Eight of Wands is saying that when it's time for you to take action, you will know. You will know. And your environment, the Eight of Pentacles, so definitely putting in some work. And for some of you, this could have to do with a work situation. Some of you, you know, changing jobs. But the Eight of Pentacles, it's putting in really hard work. And when you're looking at that with Creator, this is suggesting somebody who is happy with what they're doing and putting in a lot of effort. But not only that, but seeing some pretty amazing results from what you do as well. And I think that's probably where the focus needs to be. And not only that, but working on your own healing rather than continuing to allow yourself to be caught up in conflict. Because I do think that some of you were persistent in the past with, you know, pushing through conflicting issues, but now it's time to stop doing that, I think. And it's time for you to start putting effort into, you know, moving into a more calmer situation for yourself, right? And being persistent and putting forth the effort here to, you know, heal and move away from conflict for good. Because I do think that this is like another go around for some of you. Your hopes and your fears, the Knight of Cups. When you're looking at it in terms of love, and then seeing the Six of Swords, and then seeing the Page of Swords, you know, I think for some of you, an offering is either, you're either making it or hoping to make it, but there's not a lot of follow through. And then on the other hand, I think that some of you are hoping to see this. But, you know, the star is saying that, yes, absolutely. But when I look at the Six of Swords, I think that you need to be somewhere where you have a calmer situation going on in regards to your emotions. The Knight of Cups too, very much about following your heart. You know, the Knight of Cups has a tendency to wear, you know, their heart on their sleeve. And definitely for Cancer, yes, you know. But you need to be careful about being led astray as well. And for some of you, it may have to do with, you know, putting in too much effort into a love situation that may not be, you know, the right thing for you. Just because of seeing the Page of Swords and the Six of Swords. I'm waiting to see how this lines up. But I got a feeling that for a lot of you, this is another go around with some difficulties. And seeing the Knight of Cups, it definitely could have to do with a relationship because of this being the messenger of love and romance. But I think that, you know, with what's in your environment, I think what's more important is working on you and your healing and your ability to be in calmer situations rather than continuously fighting for something that is just continuing to create conflict. And then the outcome, the Seven of Swords. Somebody here is not being very truthful. And I don't think that I think they're being deceptive when it comes to the way that they're feeling. And I think that for some Cancers, you're putting too much effort into something that is not going to come out the way that you're hoping. The Seven of Swords, sneaky behavior, right? But I'm looking at this as external to you because you're in the middle of this going, I'm done with this. I'm done dealing with this. I've had enough. And I think for some of you, you have somebody around you that is creating conflict and maybe acting in a deceptive way, right? Sketchy behavior here. The Seven of Swords and the Page of Swords, definitely somebody is not being truthful about the way that they feel. And I do think that it's time for Cancer to put more effort into, you know, your own healing and what you need to do to ground yourself and what you are creating in your life, but then also putting more effort into moving into calmer situations instead of having to continuously fight for the same thing over and over again. That's just creating conflict over and over again, is what I feel like looking at it. But I do think with the Eight of Wands, you know, I think what Spirit is trying to say here is that when it comes to yourself, you need to be truthful, but then I also think that you need to open up the lines of communication with another person, because I don't think that they're being honest with you about the way that they feel and what their own plans are, because I do see that as external to you, the way that it's connected here. You know, and for some of you, it could definitely be a need for you to start speaking the truth about your feelings. All right, Cancer, we're going to take a look at the soul trees to see what other messages there are for you guys. I don't see this as, you know, a really bad thing, because, you know, even if you're dealing with somebody who is like sneaking around and maybe like getting the hell out of Dodge, that's all right, because you're in the process of doing some healing and you're going to be moving into better situations. But it's important for truth to be known here, and communication needs to be open where it may be blocked, especially when it comes to feelings. Honor yourself. And abundance. Abundance is great to see, especially with the Eight of Pentacles. I think a lot of you are looking at some financial abundance, especially seeing that there. Honoring yourself. Again, with facade, stop trying to be something that you're not, and be open to the possibility that there is hope in the future for you, especially with that feeling of the Six of Swords. All right, Cancer, we're going to take a look at whispers of love to see what is going on for you guys in relationships. Have faith. Trust your faith in this. Trust your faith in this situation. Sorry. Here I'm speaking about clear communication. I can't even do it. Have faith. For those of you who are single, you need to have faith that if you're leaving a difficult situation, or somebody is like, you kind of have a feeling of like, you know, skipping out on you with that Seven of Swords, I think that, you know, this may be happening for a reason where there is going to be a little bit more faith and abundance and healing and better emotional experiences for some of you. Now, for those of you who are single, have faith that, you know, you will have a meaningful relationship. Demonstrate love. Find out what is important to the people you love and act on it. Very important. If you're in a relationship right now and you're feeling unsatisfied in a relationship, stop being something that you're not. Find out what is important to the other person, and, you know, kind of be a little bit giving of yourself and demonstrate the love that you have for them by recognizing the things that are important to them. Overall, Cancer, I mean, you know, I think some of you are in a fantastic spot when it comes to what you're creating. Your artistic abilities are going to be really important this week, and the more effort you put into it, the more abundance you're going to see, absolutely. But honoring yourself is going to be really important, especially when you're moving away from conflict. Stop allowing yourself to continuously go through things that are just creating conflict over and over and over again. Be open to healing and new experiences. And if somebody is skipping out on you, maybe it's for the better. Cancer, so I get the feeling here looking at this reading that a lot of you are putting a little bit too much time and effort into situations that just are not, they're not good, because here you're moving away from it. But I really do think that somebody isn't being very truthful with you. And then the other thing too is when you're looking at facade, it may be a situation where you're not really being truthful with yourself either about the situation, because I think that you're doing a little bit too much persisting in dealing with a situation that's just going to leave you feeling like you're constantly on the move to something else, or feeling like maybe somebody is constantly in and out of your life. I do think, though, that a lot of you are hoping for, you know, this connection here, or the acceptance of an offering, whether it's you offering something to somebody or them offering it to you, but I just don't see it coming through. And I think that it's because that this person is not being very truthful. You have to forgive me, like ever since I started this reading, I can't communicate at all. And I really do think that somebody may be lying to you, and they may be lying to you in regards to the way that they feel. And then for some of you, there's a need here for you to stop lying to yourself as well. Because I do think that communication needs to start opening up here, especially with any situation involving another person who is being deceitful. I think that that is external to Cancer. But I do think that it is important for you to start putting some time and effort into the things that you are trying to create, because abundance is connected with this. If you have any artistic abilities whatsoever, it is time to start putting some time and effort into that, and you're going to create some abundance. And when it comes to the star and honoring yourself, absolutely. There is a need here for you to be open to the healing process. And it is in present conditions. And I do think that there is going to be hope for you in the future. But you're going to have to get away from this conflict. And it's so important to honor yourself and stop trying to be something that you're not, even if it's just a situation where you feel like you have to be somebody that you truly don't want to be for the sake of somebody else. It's really time to stop doing that to yourself. But, you know, again, looking at the Seven of Swords as the outcome here is difficult for me. But I have a feeling that if you're dealing with somebody that just keeps creating conflict in your life, if they're on their way out, it's time for you to let them go. Because you are on the move to something that is going to be a little bit more emotionally calming for you. Now, when it comes to love, have faith, absolutely. For the singles, have faith that you will have a meaningful relationship, especially if you're coming out of a deceitful one. And then for those of you who are in a relationship, demonstrate love. Communication is important. It's so important, and the truth needs to be spoken about the feelings that are going on with you and the other person. And I think that if Cancer starts to demonstrate these kinds of feelings here, where you're paying attention to what's important to the other person, it's going to open them up, and you're going to be able to get that truthful communication.